Hi Stampers, it's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Check out the fun, quick and easy cards I have to share with you today. My video is going to be filled with tips for using your Stamparatus and the brand new Buffalo Check background stamp. This is in the holiday catalog, which by the way, if you don't have a copy and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, let me know. I'd be happy to send you one. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We want to do some stamping. Buffalo Check, this is like the hottest thing out there right now, whether it's home decor, clothing, we're seeing it everywhere. And this is a great stamp set that you're going to use well beyond the holidays. So don't be, fooled that it's in the holiday catalog. This is a great stamp set that is going to get tons of use, and you can make plaids and buffalo check in just about any color. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Like I said, we're going to use the Stamparatus. With these big background stamps, especially this one, it makes it so simple. Now, first off, I have a piece of grid paper that I cut down to about 7 by 7 for in here. I haven't received yet the new pad. Stampin' Up! Just released a pad of grid paper that's going to fit this perfectly. Mine's in the shipping right now. So if you have a Stamparatus already, or if you order one after you see how much I love it, make sure you pick up the pad of paper with it as well. Now the other thing, I like to use a little bit of a template when I'm making, when I'm doing a background stamp, because I don't want this up in the corner here because it's just not going to stamp good on those edges. We want to bring it down here, but I want to make sure it's in the right spot. So what I do is I take a piece of cardstock, I kind of grab one that I know I have extras of, or I probably won't use much of this color. It's about 7 by 7. And then I take my trimmer and I'm going to line up here on the 1-inch mark. Okay, I want to keep this nice and square. So nice and tight here, 1 inch is there. And I'm going to cut from the bottom up to 1 inch from the top. Now there's little markings right here along the edge, so you know where that 1 inch spot is. And then I'm going to turn it, and on this side we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up here at the 1 inch, and we're going to cut from the top here down to where my cutting is from before, and it just makes this little template. Now, when I take my Stamparatus, what I'm going to do, put my grid paper in there first, and then my little template, and we're going to put that nice and flush in that corner. You don't have to necessarily use the magnets, but if you want to, just kind of get them out of the way here. We're going to just hold that template in place. Then my piece of cardstock that I'm going to stamp on, I'll be able to put right here nice and tight into the corner of my template. But before I do that, I want to place the background stamp. So we're going to take it and we're going to place the background stamp as well right up in that corner. Tight there, and then I can close this and go ahead and it sticks on it good. Now before I start inking this, I like to put my stamp case underneath it because it'll make this level instead of on that angle, making it easier to stamp on. Now my piece of Whisper White here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. I will cut it down after I've stamped. I always like to start a little bit bigger and cut it down. That way I know if I'm a smidgen crooked or something, I can very easily change it and just trim it to make it straight. So we've got that ready to go. We're going to take Bermuda Bay for this one, and we're going to ink this up really good. Okay, tap it around, get that nice and ink, because you've got some pretty solid, spots there. And then we'll go ahead and close it down. Since it's this big background stamp, you want to give this some really good pressure. Rub your fingers along, especially those edges in the middle. Just give it really good. But the nice thing is, if it doesn't stamp really good, you'll be able to put it down and try it again. Now it tends to stick on me, but we'll just, nice thing is I can just put this right back in that corner, and you can see here it didn't stamp too good. So we can actually just close this up again, put a little bit more pressure on it. If you need to, you can put more ink on the stamp. Sometimes it's a matter of you didn't get it inked real well. Here we still got a little bit. I'm going to actually go ahead and ink this a second time. It'll make my ink darker, and hopefully some of those spots that aren't, real solid will get solider for me. Solider, is that a word? Again, let's give it some really good pressure on there. You can rub, you can press. I find it's easier standing up to get some good pressure on there. And we're stuck. there we go. It did kind of mess up a little bit where I moved it, but that's okay. If it was perfect, it wouldn't be handmade. So now, like I said, I like to start out a little bit bigger than I need, and then I can trim it down. So actually, why don't we just trim down? No, we're going to trim from this side. We're going to trim a little bit there. And I want my finished piece to actually end up being 5. So we'll go out to 5. Oh, I did get most of that off there. And 3 3/4. So here is the piece we're going to use for our project. Now, we could absolutely use that just how it is, which is what I did on this card. I stamped with lovely lipstick onto a piece of powder pink cardstock to get that look. But then what I want to talk about is making plaids, because, you know, this could get kind of addicting. My family is a plaid family. You ask my kids what their favorite color is, they'll say plaid, but they don't say plaid, they say plaid. So I don't know where that came from. But anyhow, what you're going to do, or you can do, is just take your markers and you're going to draw lines on here and play around with different markers. You can use either the wider end of them and get a bigger line, or you could use the smaller end and get a much thinner line. So let's just go ahead and do the wider side. And I think we're going to go about in the middle. And I'm just eyeballing it. It does not have to be perfect. Notice that I'm starting off of the cardstock and just making one nice long swipe all the way down there. So there we go. And then I can just turn my cardstock and we'll go ahead and go the other direction. There we go. Now, if you wanted to add some yellow in there or some black, for black lines, I like to use just a thin black Sharpie. And I think we're going to just go closer to the edge, away from our lovely as a lipstick line here. And we'll go ahead and make our plaid going that way. And once again, I would spin it and go ahead and go the other direction. But you can have fun just playing with different markers, different color combinations, stamping on white versus stamping on colored cardstock. But this buffalo check is awesome. Now, as long as we got markers out, I want to show you how I did my greeting here. I'm using a greeting from Friendly Conversations, and I've already put it on my block here. And rather than inking up in an ink pad, I want to get multiple colors on my stamp. So I can use my markers, and I'm going to color directly on here, whatever color. Let's see, I'm going to use, you got to kind of decide what you want, what color here. But this is a way to get multiple colors on a stamp all at once. I've been kind of asked this question. Oops, got a little bit there we don't want. I've been asked this question a few times lately, how to get multiple colors on a stamp at one time. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do the black there. I want to do the word you up here with the lovely lipstick. And then let's use Bermuda Bay. Whoops. You do want to use the brush end of your markers. And these are the regular Stampin' Writes. Your alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends, do not work for this. So make sure you're using your regular water-based markers. Get those words. We'll come over here. I mean, you can put as many different colors on a stamp as you want. Now, the key is, if you're doing a big stamp like this one is, and it's taken me a little bit of time to color it all in, those markers might start drying. You're going to actually pick this up and huff on it. Just kind of the moisture from your breath will get those inks nice and wet again. So we're going to huff on it, and then we'll stamp it on a scrap of Whisper White. And look at all the different colors I got on there. Then for my card, I just use my layering ovals, and I cut out that one, and then I cut a scallop out of a piece of black, put my card together, tied some lovely black baker's twine around that, and I was super happy the way these cards turned out. So I hope you kind of picked up some tips on using markers to get multiple colors and a few tips for using the Stamparatus and the Buffalo Plaid. You definitely want to add that Buffalo Plaid onto your next order. Speaking of ordering, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be that person. Let me know if you have questions, if I can help you in any way at all. And I will have all the details and dimensions and everything for these cards listed for you. Just check the description of the video and it'll lead you there. Again, let me know if you have a catalog or if you'd like me to send you a catalog. And I guess that's it for today. It's been fun stamping with you, and I look forward to stamping with you again in a couple of days. Have a stamp happy day.